The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
Good evening and welcome to my State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke. Well, last week I talked to Dr. McDonald of the Department of Health about the big picture. Now it'll become clearer for schools just a couple of weeks from now. March 4th is the day that schools will execute a relief of school mask mandate, and one by one, except for the urbans, which is a conversation that we should have next week, most of the school districts are going to be making this move. One of the pioneers, I think, of thinking out of the box in Rhode Island has been the Westerly School Superintendent, Dr. Mark Garceau, and he is my guest this evening. First, WPRI's report on the progress of school systems this week.
It's been one mask mandate for schools will end on March 4th, as long as the COVID-19 data continues to trend in the right direction.
Some districts have already decided, some are in the process of deciding.
It's going to allow parents again to kind of weigh in on what's important for their children in each school district.
So far, at least Exeter, West Greenwich, Lincoln, North Kingstown, Portsmouth, and Warwick schools have decided to make masks optional in schools after March 4th.
I think that we are in a very different situation that
like in cases occurs following the break.
We are seeing, stages and signs that the numbers are going down, that things are changing, which is our greatest hope.
With the superintendent of schools of the Westerly school system, Dr. Mark Garceau, who, as I said, has been kind of a responsible lightning rod in some of this conversation with COVID, and it is not easy. Lightning rod or not, nobody's got all the answers, and we're still in a place right now where we're trying to feel our way through. Mark, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
So once upon a time, there was this virus, right? And it stopped everything. Every school official that I've spoken with, I've given some time to actually do a retrospective. So before we get into some of your entrepreneurial efforts, really, in a lot of ways, on test and stay, and then where the school committee was on most recently, talk to me a little bit about what it was like. There are times when I actually go back to March 2020 and have trouble remembering it. It feels like it's so long ago.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Well, it was March 13th, Friday the 13th, ironically enough, right, of March 2020, when it seemed like the world just came to a stop. And before we started talking here, you mentioned that you've had COVID. I think I had it before we knew what we were really even talking about. Ended on Friday the 13th. It started to really ramp up, and on Thursday night of that week, I got a call that one of our so it is 2 years in the rearview mirror, and it's hard to remember what an impact it was having at that time. So we had to shut down immediately, and the Department of Ed and the Department of Health, I think, worked together to determine that we were going to do away with April vacation and move it back to the week following that March 13th. And that was to give us a week to figure out how to do something called distance learning. Didn't know anything about it, had to create it, made it up on the fly. And we reopened after that week off in a full distance learning mode, distributing Chromebooks, distributing computers and tech, and working with families to ensure that they all had access, and our teachers trying to figure out how the heck they were going to keep this thing of ours moving. And it was really, really difficult. But we've got some of the best teachers in the state, best teachers anywhere, and they did miraculous stuff. I said at the time, in that week, they really pulled off some Apollo 13 type stuff, right?
You know,
Remember in the movie,
yeah,
you only get so much to work with, you get so little time. They figured it out.
Well, I'm so glad that you offered that historical narrative, because it reminds me, and your description of it is so acute. It reminds me to remind myself every day on the radio, weekdays 3 to 6 on WPRO, doing this, writing columns, just living life, that we got jolted.
Oh man.
So we've been dealing with the progress of the virus. We've been dealing with, eliminating some of those concerns, a la the surfaces, and not completely, but from the paranoia level that we had experienced, where we were all leaving groceries in the garage for 3 or 4 days before we took them in, blah blah blah, all of that. But it serves to remind us that collectively and probably individually, we've got some PTSD we're dealing with here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we will for a time. If you think about how something as simple as, not simple, but something as impactful in our collective memories as the blizzard of '78 is, right?
Right.
It was from that point on, now all hell breaks loose if there's 2 flakes in the air. But before that, we could roll with it. So we will always kind of be alert and wince when we hear of these things coming down the pike. But yeah, it had a significant impact on all of us. My mother is 81 years old. Do I go visit her? Do I not go spend time there? Do I have to wear a mask? Do I have to, wear a hazmat suit? All of that stuff that we dealt with. Sure, it's been stressful, and the anti-mask crowd will talk about the stress that has put on kids, and I'm sure there was some of that as well. But nobody escaped it. Nobody escaped it. Everybody knew somebody that was really sick or was afraid that they were going to get really sick. And we had all these things, and we had the governor, the previous governor, with her press conferences, and Dr. Scott. These people came to the fore, and you can agree with how they handled things or they didn't, but they were in a position where leadership was really expected of them, and I think everybody did the very best they could. But
yeah,
geez, I never experienced anything like this, and I hope to never again.
No, okay, so that's a good place to jump off here. We'll pause and come back, and we'll talk about the progress, rolling with these punches, and then getting to a point where the Westerly superintendent helped to jostle what really still is a fledgling attempt to do what Massachusetts has done, I think, better, and that is test to stay. And then we'll get to the meat of the matter right now in terms of how we're going to demask from one system to the next. Right back with Dr. Mark Garceau, the superintendent of the Westerly school system. Stay with us. With the superintendent of schools in Westerly, Dr. Mark Garceau. So, look, really important narrative to talk about, where we were. And then you've got this, this bouncing ball that we've been through, where things got better. There was hope, I'm sure, for the start of this particular 21-22 school year to be normal, maybe mask free, but then we had an Omicron, we had a Delta surge, or we were not particularly ready yet, and everyone had a different time and space, and probably has a different recollection about where we had to be. But the whole time, teachers and kids have been wearing masks. We know what kind of difficulty that has presented in terms of communication and the psychology of it. We also know that half of it's sideways. I mean, the kids do the best they can. I'm sure you haven't thrown anybody in detention for having a sideways mask, but Johnny, put your mask on is what the teachers have to deal with. They didn't have to mandate. They 90% compliance across the board, really, with teachers. But it's been a rocky road. You obviously were looking across the border and seeing what Massachusetts had decided to do with their test and stay program, which is simply, folks, keeping kids in school and saving hours, sending kids home on quarantine, whether they were close contact or not. I don't think we should get bogged down in the details on how that works, because there's a new version of it that will have to go here. But, thank you from me to you as a school leader who who said, can we do this? And then you volunteered your system to be kind of a pilot system. I still think that we were tardy, but tell me what your thinking was and how it worked out.
Well, I agree with that, Dan. You know, when we had cases, we knew we were going to have cases. We had cases when we reopened in fall of 21 in buildings, and you might have 2 kids in a building test positive in a given week, but through the close contact tracing and all of that, and the parameters around that, where you have to look in a 6-foot radius and all, those 2 kids might result in 20 kids being home for a week. And what we kept seeing was that when those kids were home, virtually none of them would subsequently test positive for COVID. So we kept seeing that, and we're putting kids out, and I'm saying, well, why are we doing this? If the spread is not happening in school, because at least it seemed to me it wasn't, because again, kids weren't testing positive, why do we need to continue to go this route? So I had heard about, this test to stay approach, and I don't know Governor McKee, but through a contact, I got his cell number and I reached out to him and asked if he'd be willing to have a conversation. And I got him on the phone on a Saturday, and we talked for quite a while. And he's another guy that'll take his lumps, but he listens. And we had a really good conversation. And he said, so what's your ask of me, Mark? I said, well, my ask would be to allow us to try this for 30 days. If it goes south, we go back to, exactly the way it is. But I think we can do this. I've got the horses. I've got the right people in place. Let me do this. And it was another 2 weeks or so, and we finally got the green light, and we coordinated with the Department of Health. And we were the first district in the state to go test to stay. And it saved us hundreds of hours of lost instructional time in a face-to-face model. So before Christmas, I reached out to the governor again. I said, Governor, wishing you a Merry Christmas. I hope after the break, you'll consider taking the next step and maybe going to a screen to stay, because even with test to stay in place, we're still not seeing the positive cases. So it was, again, about trying to loosen the grip. And
the difference for everybody between test and screen is?
That we would just screen kids as they come in. And if they're asymptomatic and they continue to remain asymptomatic, you're good to go. I think the most important thing we can do now, Dan, is we've promoted the heck out of vaccination, but at some point, if you're not vaccinated, you're not going to get vaccinated. We've promoted the heck out of that. We've promoted the heck out of spacing, hand washing, wearing masks, which is, kind of coming off the table now. We've done all of those things, and it's all about trying to get kids into the building. But I think the most important thing we can encourage now is, if you're sick, stay home. We should have been doing that all along anyway. But if people just self-isolate and take a little responsibility for contributing to us getting through this, we'd all be in a better place. So that's what we're really going to encourage now, is if the school committee takes my recommendation, we have a school committee meeting tonight, that we make masks optional. We'll still strongly encourage the wearing of masks. We'll still absolutely support anybody who wants to wear a mask. But if they take that and the masks come off, but the most important thing people can do is just look out for each other a little bit and stay home if you're not feeling well.
Yeah,
I think that's where we are.
Yeah, and we have a tradition in America. The kids got the sniffles, and mommy and daddy got to go to work, and so the kids.
Rub some dirt on it and get in there. But we can't afford to do that right now.
With the superintendent of schools in Westerly, Dr. Mark Garceau. So you had mentioned in our last segment tonight that we're recording this because of schedule issues on Wednesday. You're seeing this on Friday on Fox and Sunday on WPRI. I had written a column in the Valley Breeze about your remark to me on the radio, Mark, about it's time to take the training wheels off. I just thought that was just so visually, right on. But truth of the matter is that you're a little bit of an outlier. Your fellow superintendents, while each of them have done heroic work in their own district, and at the end, the irony is you got thrown right back in your lap for the big moment, which is to take masks off. But your threatening to actually, not threatening, but was throwing out signals to either resolve, to do it on their own, or at least to resolve to tell the governor to get going here. So tell me about what the dynamics have been in your town, and talk to me about what it's like to be a superintendent or school committee having to, step out on this.
Yeah, I think your point is about the superintendent's not wanting this kind of autonomy. I think it's a mix, Dan, because really what we don't want is to be pitted against each other a lot of times. And so even if you go back to spring of 2020, we're trying to, all of us, all my colleagues, we're trying to plan graduation, for example, or proms. And we kept getting such mixed signals from the state about what would be allowed, what wouldn't be allowed. And we were just like, please just tell us what we can do so we can plan appropriately. But if it came to the point where one district is doing something entirely different than another, the district who's being more restrictive obviously is going to catch all kinds of hell. So it does make things easier if you're just told what to do. It doesn't always make things work right. So I think what's tied up in this whole debate about masking, not masking, all this too, is the issue of local control, which has been wrested from us and is concerning. And I'm a local control guy, but at the end of the day, like in the summer of 21, when I was positioned to recommend to my school committee that we will open with masks being strongly recommended, but there's all these other decisions being made around the state, sure, it was easier for me for the governor to just say, no, here's the way it's going to be. And I think he was reluctant to do that. I don't think he wanted to do that. But yeah, it took it off my plate, and I said, well, what do you want from me? This is the way it's going to be. Right. So now we had school committee members down here, and my, I agree with them that we need to kind of gain back some of our control, whether it's over our calendar or over our policies. And I had at least one member who would vocally say, I think we should, direct the superintendent to, basically, I'm paraphrasing, to defy the governor's executive order. And I said at the meeting, well, if there's 4 committee members, my bosses, who want to direct me to do that, sure, I'm going to do that. We all got to serve somebody, right? But but I would not recommend it. I would absolutely would not recommend that course of action. So so that's where we got to. So I advocated, to anybody in the Superintendent's Association that would listen, that we be given the opportunity and to advocate for masks optional. The Superintendent's Association issued a directive supporting the executive order, but didn't weigh specifically on the masking issue, weigh in specifically on that. Yeah. And then things started to come apart in just the last week and a half. Right. So listen, every district then is going to catch up to the Westerly mindset one by one. It's still a an aggressive recommendation for masking, but not mandatory, which means if the kids take it off, they take it off, and that's fine. How the teachers are going to deal with this is going to be interesting. It's going to be a rocky road. I only have a couple minutes left here in this important conversation, but how do you view now through June going? Yeah, I expect that, even that COVID is throwing us monkey wrenches all the time, but yeah. What do you predict? Well, when we were in, and I'm sorry because I struggle with the years, when we were in the spring of 21, we thought it was over. We, again, we were trying to figure out how to do graduation and everything else, and we were on the football field in June for the graduation class of 21, and the kids were maskless and the parents were maskless, and I think the only people maybe wearing masks were those of us up on the stage, and we take them off when we thought we were done. We thought it was over. Then Delta started to crop up. Barring any other variants coming our way, I think we're going to be in at least as good a position this spring as we were then. We went into the summer thinking it was over, everything's going to be beautiful in September, it's all going to be unicorns and rainbows, and we're back in business. And then Delta kind of threw a wrench in things during the summer, and then Omicron came and continued that. So I think we're going to see a bit of a spike after February vacation. Kids are going to be off skiing, kids are going to be cooped up, all of that. We're going to see an increase in numbers. It's going to start to come back down and level off. We're still going to see people in masks. Maybe it's a small number, maybe it's half and half. I don't know what to expect, but we're going to still see that. And we're going to just stay on top of this. And I will say too, you know, the unions have taken their knocks too about being the reason that we've been in masks, or the reason that we were closed. We don't have that issue down here. We have a great working relationship with Westerly's Teachers Association. They want to do what's right by kids. They want to do what's right by their colleagues. And we will work through this together. If it all goes to hell and we have to go back into masks, so be it. That happens. But I don't expect that to be the case. I think we're finally seeing the light at the end of this tunnel.
All right, the perfect. Hey, listen, all I can ask is that we stay in touch on both the radio and the television side to see how it's going. But appreciate your candor and your comfort with just talking honestly about this. It's breath of fresh air. Good luck through the rest of the season. Dr. Mark Garceau, the Superintendent of Westerly. Final word and we come back. Stay with us. As I said at the beginning of the show, we may have a tale of two Rhode Islands, with suburban and rural systems making the move to leave the masks, and the urban systems looking at vaccination rates not high enough to do so. We'll talk about that next week, and of course, we're here weekdays 3 to 6 on WPRI radio as well. You have a great week. Bye.